Hey, it's the preacher. I'm back in the kitchen today, and I want to start a new series, and I want to call it Dinner for a Crowd. Dinner for a big crowd. I started back in January cooking for the entire church on Wednesday night. Now I pastor a small church, and if we have a good crowd on Wednesday, we might have 40. So I decided to make it easy on them because I like to cook, and I know it's hard to work and get off work and get to Bible study on a Wednesday night. So I thought, hey, I'll just have supper ready. Y'all come to church, eat, and then we'll have Bible study. Well, I did that, and I wanted to do it where it was, as cheap as possible. And so we have a voluntary donation of $3 a person or $10 a family. And if you don't have it, you don't have it. It's not mandatory. So anyways, I've got to find a way to feed 40 people or so for relatively cheap. And so I want to just kind of give you an idea how to do that. You may find yourself in that position. You may be looking for recipes, a way to do that. Or you can do this and just cut the recipes and cook them and freeze it. But here's what I do. I start by looking at my local grocery store ad, and I see what is on sale in the grocery store. You typically don't find these kind of deals at a Walmart. Walmart sales are really not ever, I never really find them real cheap. They're 10 cents off or something. But my local grocery store will run various meats on sale. Sometimes it's pork loin, sometimes it's steaks, sometimes it's pork butts, and sometimes it's 10-pound packages of hamburger. And that's what we have here, a 10-pound tube of hamburger. And if you can see the price on that, it's $14.74 for 10 pounds. So anytime that occurs, I start thinking about meals that have hamburger in them. And Sloppy Joe's is an easy one to prepare if you're feeding a crowd. These Sloppy Joe cans of Sloppy Joe mix were on sale for 86 cents. By the way, don't get Manwich. Get Del Monte Sloppy Joe mix. Don't get Manwich. You're better than that. You deserve Del Monte, okay? So, I got 7 cans of that for 86 cents. I've found that when I brown up 10 pounds of hamburger meat, I usually end up with about 7.5 pounds cooked. And so I add 7 cans of Del Monte Sloppy Joe mix. I had some of these little peppers left over. I have a salad bar every night, and I had some of these little peppers left over from last week. So I know they're not going to keep for another week, so I'm going to chop those up and put them in the Sloppy Joes. I had an onion from the Vidalias that I put away last week. I've got it here. I'm going to chop it up and throw it in there. Today's Saturday. I'm going to do all this today. I'm going to put this in the freezer, and I'm going to have it sitting there so that when Wednesday rolls around, all I have to do is pull it out and warm it up. So when you're cooking 10 pounds of hamburger meat, the best thing I have found is an electric skillet. These have tall sides on them. They'll hold, I don't know, a gallon. I've found it's easy to put 5 pounds of the hamburger in there and cook 10 pounds of hamburger in 2 batches. And it works out good for me. And then this being real fatty, normally I would put hamburger out on the paper towels and let it drain, but this being real fatty hamburger, I just put it in a colander and let it drain. Now I know what some of you are thinking, and you're probably already typing, and you're like, preacher, you know what they put in that kind of hamburger? Yeah, lips and buttholes. But I want to tell you something, America was built on lips and buttholes. And we eat hot dogs, we eat sausage, and all of it's made out of worse stuff than what's in here. If I were making hamburger steak, this would not be my choice of hamburger. But I'm making Sloppy Joes. And so the main thing you're going to taste is what's in this can, not the quality of what's in this hamburger. So if you want to talk to me about pasture raised and organic and grass fed, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it for one reason. I've never saw a pasture raised, grass fed, organic guy that had any weight on him. They were all skinny. They lived their life in a gym. They lived their life on a bicycle. That's not who I am. I live my life eating stuff like this. If you want to get cooking information, get it from somebody that looks like me. That looks like they know what food tastes like. So, that's that. Dinner for a crowd. This will feed about 50 people. Now, you figure $15 for the meat. That's cheap. You figure another, let's just say $7. I think these were 85 cents a can, but let's just say they were $1 a can. So now we're at $22. All we have left to buy is 6 packages of hamburger buns for $1 a package. So there's another $6. For under $30, we have everyone's Sloppy Joe prepared. Then all we have to do with the remainder of the money is provide a salad bar and a side dish. And I would probably buy a big tub of potato salad or a big tub of coleslaw or both and set out there for side dishes. Or you could just buy chips and do potato chips with it. But anyways, it makes for a cheap, reasonable meal. And cooking it in an electric skillet makes it pretty easy. And you can knock it out in a couple hours on a Saturday and have everything done where all you're doing is putting this in a crock pot. So, Dinner for a Crowd episode 1 is Sloppy Joe's, and we're feeding everybody for about $50 or $60 with a salad bar and 2 sides. And that's pretty reasonable. I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. Okay, that's 5 pounds of the hamburger meat. I'm going to put about half of these onions and about half of these peppers in there. You don't have to be exact. You're going to mix this 5 pounds of meat and these peppers with the other in the end anyways. We're just cooking it in batches because that's what fits in the skillet. To that, I'll put in a little bit of Lawry's. Everything that's good has that in it. Put the lid on it and let it go. We'll come back and stir it every few minutes, maybe every 5 or 10. When it's cooked, I'll show you what it looks like. And a little Lawry salt, and we let it cook down till we're sure everything is good and cooked. And the peppers will be the last to get tender, and they're kind of falling apart. The onions have kind of disappeared into the hamburger, so I'm going to call that good. I'll unplug the skillet and we'll drain it. As you saw, that browned up nicely. A little quality control never hurt. Oh yeah. I emptied it out of the skillet into this colander to let all the fat drain out. I went ahead and started the next batch, and I got it going over here. So here's the other half of that 10-pound package cooking. And while I got the onions and the peppers and everything in there and got it broke up, I let this drain. So that's what's happened. It is set here and drained. And this is the easiest way I've found when you're handling 5-10 pounds of hamburger meat, rather than trying to spread it out in a pan over paper towels. Just drain it in a colander. And then I'm going to dump it in a new pan. Now that I've got that done, I'm just going to add 1 can of the Sloppy Joe mix. I know I should be putting about 3 in here, but for right now I'm just going to put 1. And here's why. I'm going to be freezing this till Wednesday because today's Saturday. And so I have found if you put a little bit of the Sloppy Joe mix in there, it kind of works like a marinade and you get a better flavor. So it kind of works like a marinade while you let it cool, just to go ahead and mix in that 1 can and then I can adjust how much I put in when I heat it up. And I think it helps the Sloppy Joe mix to kind of adhere to the meat a little better. And I think it gives you a better taste, a more flavorful taste, by being able to leave it in there like that. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and put another can in it. That's 2 cans into probably 3.5 pounds of meat. What I'm going to end up adding is probably 1 more can and maybe some barbecue sauce. Sometimes if I think it's too tangy, rather than add the last can or half a can, I'll add barbecue sauce or maybe ketchup, or if it's not tangy enough, you can add mustard. You just kind of go by taste, but all we're doing here is, before we're freezing it, we're getting some of that Sloppy Joe sauce on there to soak, because we're going to leave it out on the counter. We'll leave it out on the counter for probably 30-40 minutes and let it come down to room temperature. Then I'll put saran wrap over the top and we'll stick it in the deep freeze. It'll be in there about 4 days, so we don't have to worry about it freezer burning or anything like that. We're just keeping it till we're ready to use it on Wednesday. So what I'll do is I'll set this out on Wednesday and let it start to thaw out. I'll peel the saran wrap off, put foil on it, stick it in the oven and warm it up, and I'll get both of these hot, and then rather than mix them or put them in a crock pot, since we'll go through it pretty quick, I'll just set the first one out. And you should be able to easily make 20 sandwiches out of each of these. So it's hard to put more than 1/4 of a pound of hamburger, a Sloppy Joe, on a bun without it falling off all sides. So anyways, that's how I feed 40 people or so on a budget. And I hope if you're ever in a position where you have to cook a bunch, you can do the same thing. About once a week or so, I'll be maybe once a month, I'll be doing a video on feeding a large crowd of people on a budget. And if that's something that interests you, then keep your eye open. I'll probably try to do this, like I said, about once a month. Just because I enjoy cooking, the church enjoys not having to worry about a meal, and it works out good for everybody. So thank you guys for watching. And if you're one of them, if you're vegan, get off my channel. If you're one of them, I don't eat that, whatever, hey, get over it. This kind of stuff right here, this will build up your immune system. You'll quit being sick all the time. I'm never sick. It's because I eat my antibiotics from cow meat. Some of you people don't eat meat with antibiotics in it, and that's why you're sick all the time. I don't go to the doctor. I don't take a lot of medicine because I get all my antibiotics from beef. Let's keep that in mind. I wouldn't eat store-bought hamburger meat. That's got chemicals in it and hormones and... I would. That's good.